Hello there everyone, my name is Barron and welcome to BarronView. Some of you will be familiar with my content, but for those of you who are not, I do commentary, review and general rant videos. So if that sounds appealing to you at all, make sure to stick around till the end of the video and I will talk to you all then. I hope you enjoy. The good old days of gaming, back when people didn't worry about how high their FPS was or how they would design their characters. No, it was all simplistic. You bought the game, you played the game, which usually ended up in a divorce and family breakup, and that was all. Well, today I've decided to look back on some of my personal favourite games from 15 or more years ago, and just appreciate how truly amazing they are. So, let's get right to it, shall we? Resident Evil 4, the fourth installment in this survival horror series, and in my opinion, and the opinion of many others, the best. It consists of Leon, my hair is fucking amazing, Kennedy, on a rescue mission to find and rescue the United States President's daughter, because that makes sense. Throughout the game we encounter a number of bosses and enemies, some of which are cool as fuck, like Verdugo, Mutated Saddler and El Gigante, and some of which are not so cool. Some might even say they were just short of the target with the execution. Sorry Salazar, you poor bastard. There's also a huge variety of weapons. We have magnums, pistols, shotguns, rifles, machine guns, and even a damn laser gun. There's also an infinite rocket launcher which you can unlock, which, well, let's just say the bosses aren't exactly hard when you use it. Another thing is the game's soundtrack, which is fairly overlooked. It's mostly all played on a Spanish guitar, seeing as the game is set in Spain, but the song that really stands out to me is Serenity, the music you hear when you're in the same room as the typewriter. This song to me signifies safety. You're finally in a place where you won't be attacked by everything that moves and you can relax for a bit. I can't tell you how many times I've used this song to fall asleep, it's just amazing. My final point on this game is that it was by far the peak of the series, and the games that came after were fucking train wrecks. Seriously, if I had a graph of the games, the quality would slope down more than this year's Oscars ratings. This game was the end of the survival horror team of RE, until RE7 anyway, and it was also the beginning of the utter tragedy of an era that was RE4 and RE6. So thank you RE4 for giving us a good final send off. Now I'm going to pass the mic to the main man himself, Mr. KayHaitch, and let him have his piece. Take it away, Kay.
Thank you, Barron. So as you can probably tell from this little shrine up here, I'm a bit of a Sonic the Hedgehog nut. Absolutely love the franchise. I've played almost every game at least once. And my first pick's a little bit unexpected. So during 2005-2006, the 6th generation console era, Sonic the Hedgehog was in a bit of a dark period. You know, you had games like Sonic Heroes coming out, which was a bit of an objective one. You had Shadow the Hedgehog, which was just Sonic with guns and black hair. You know, and you had games like Sonic 06, but we don't talk about Sonic 06. You know, Sonic 06 is more like Sonic stick it in the bin. So my first pick is a bit of an unexpected one. In fact, it's a racing game. I'm talking, of course, about Sonic Riders, which was released in 2006, and it involves Sonic and his friends on hoverboards trying to thwart Eggman instead of just running around and, you know, using the fists and the supersonic. Super Billy! But essentially Sonic Riders is a hoverboard racing game where the story follows the three main characters, Sonic, Tails and Knuckles, and Amy in there of course, competing in a Grand Prix, a racing tournament if you will, with Dr. Robotnik offering up the Chaos Emeralds as a prize. But they do have a rival hoverboard team that are trying to compete for the emeralds at the same time. And of course, blah blah shenanigans, blah blah, Eggman was being bad the whole time, blah blah, Sonic teams up with the team that they were racing against to defeat evil, and friendship is power. Fuck yeah, this is a kid's game and I'm still playing it really religiously.
So sad.
But story aside, since it is a very stereotypical Sonic the Hedgehog game, the actual gameplay of it is absolutely fantastic. You can take Sonic and friends on a variety of different courses, ranging from futuristic cities, to caves, to massive woodland areas, to deserts, you know, to big factories, to a fucking floating island in the sky, man. A fucking floating island. The whole thing has an air depletion system, so you can boost, but your air does eventually run out, and you got checkpoints you can pick them up from. But I feel like it adds to the whole aspect of it, you know? I feel like it acts like a pit stop in a normal racing game. I unironically go back and play the game so much. I am absolutely infatuated with it. Dare I say it's probably one of my favourite racing games of all time. And it's just a little blue fucker on a skateboard just going, yeah boy! Sonic Riders, definitely a game from the noughties that I absolutely fucking loved. So, with that over and done with, back to you, Barron.
But now we have another saying, that's bad news for the crown.
I think it was pretty obvious to any of you who know me that there would be at least one Guitar Hero game on this list, and lo and behold, there is! Guitar Hero 2 was released in 2006 and is considered by a lot of people to be the best of the series. The quality boost of this game from GH1 is pretty crazy. To put it in comparison, the hit window for GH1 was so small that it's easier to strum every note than attempt to hit hobos. In GH2, the hit window was 100 milliseconds, which gave you a little bit more time to hit the incoming notes, although it was still quite small. The setlist for this game is pretty epic, has some absolute bangers like YYZ by Rush, You Really Got Me by Van Halen, Hangar 18 by Megadeth, and Jordan by Buckethead. Pfft, why is he wearing a bucket on his head? What is he, stupid?
Hey, got him.
The replayability of this game was really high as well, given a few things, one of which is actually the small hit window. Since the hit window was so small, it was way more challenging to FC songs, and combine that with some of the ridiculously hard charts, well, for GH2 standards, it made for a lot of fun to come back to. I think the main two songs that people would remember from this game would be Freebird, which was obviously a pretty iconically hard chart and ridiculously long, and obviously Jordan. Jordan, while also being an amazing song, has some stupidly fast tapping sections. This right here that you're seeing on the screen, well, I think Alec can sum it up pretty well. Alec?
That was bullshit!
Yes, thank you for that, Alec. I think you put it quite well.
His name is One Shot Paddy, and it's Brits that he will hound.
That was pretty cool, right? The mid-2000s was inundated with extreme sports games. You know, you had your Tony Hawk skateboard. Yeah, you had your Matt Hoffman Pro BMX. You had your Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX. You had a few Tech Deck games thrown in there. There's probably a few scooter games somewhere down the line as well. I've never played them personally. You even had your hoverboard games with, you know, the big man up there. The big man up there, he's doing cool tricks and grinding rails and getting chaos emeralds. It's friendship, it's a kid's game. It's a kid's game. It's a kid's game.
So sad.
But one game really did stick out to me during the time, and it was in fact one of the first games I owned on the Xbox 360. And I played it to death. I played it so much that the disc ended up getting worn out. I had to buy a new copy. 2K decided to bring back a beloved franchise from the original Xbox era, and in 2005 released Amped 3. See, Amped 1 and 2 were both very, very great standalone snowboarding games. Absolutely fantastic, but your usual garbage where it is, go and do some cool tricks, impress some people, gain some fans, unlock some more areas, do more cool tricks, impress some fans, unlock, you know, like yada yada yada. It's just a snowboarding game. It's a cool snowboarding game. But with Amped 3, you take Amped 1 and 2, you think about those, you go to bed and you think about those, and you have the most vivid fever dream you've ever had. You put that on a disc, you put that in an Xbox, you got Amped 3. It is the most incredible cinematic masterpiece that I have ever played. It is so incredible. So the story of it essentially follows your character, who is, you know, nameless, sexless. Well, I mean, the snowboarders would probably get a fair bit, I'm not gonna lie. Genderless, shall we say. But the cutscenes and the story is what pulls it all together. None of it makes that much sense. But the developers decided to go for an extremely strange style with everything, with one cutscene being a super retro video game just to say that you and your friends have met up. Advertisements for fictional snowboard extreme playsets for kids, you know, sort of kids who probably still play Sonic Riders. The game was just incredible. You know, with the same sort of missions as, like, you know, follow one guy from A to B, get some good score on this jump, make sure you impress some fans. But you don't have to just ride a snowboard. Snowmobiles were involved. You can ride a fucking hot dog, man. You can ride a hot dog. But I remember playing that game absolutely constantly as a kid. It was one of my most, if not my most played game on the Xbox 360, and I owned a lot of games on that console. But I remember when I was a kid playing it, I did hit a point where I couldn't get past. It was a trick that I couldn't do. I couldn't quite get the gold rank on it. And the crowd around you get annoyed and, you know, start saying, oh, boo, you suck, you know, like stuff like that. And I remember being so disheartened by it. I didn't mute my TV. I didn't just mute my TV. I ended up putting on Take That's Beautiful World album, which it came out the same year, I believe. I hope that was the same year. I remember putting that album on to chill me out and just muting the TV. So I finished the game listening to Take That's Return album. It was pretty wicked. But Amped 3, definitely another game that I really cherish. super cherished in my eyes.
If one shot putty sees them, they'll know they're going down.
Ah yes, the biggest of the boys, Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 is the second of the series, released in 2001, and is definitely the best of them. The lore of this game is something to behold. The effort to detail that was put in is actually insane. I made a video on this on my old channel, but I'll do a brief summary here for those of you who didn't come from my old channel. The main premise of this is libido, which is a person's drive towards something, or more specifically a sex drive. There's little hints of this all throughout the game, from the different monsters that attempt to kill James, to the different rooms that James and the other characters show up in at certain points of the game. This is also backed by the fact that each character sees different monsters, somewhat proved by the line Eddie says.
You're not friends with that red pyramid.
Red pyramid thing? I don't know what you're talking about. Honest, I did see some weird looking monsters.
Moving off the philosophy side of things, the pure scare factor of this game is enough to give 7-year-old me nightmares for days. Some of the monsters are creepy as well as just plain weird. These fuckers here, they're literally just two pairs of women's legs stitched together. There's also these weird ass people in the mental hospital who are confined in straitjackets and have blood all over them. It's just really creepy. The most iconic thing to come out of this game is Pyramid Head, and for fair reason. He is one terrifying motherfucker when you see him for the first time. He has a one-hit attack that will end your entire career, and just the sheer terror he can instill in you by existing is eerie. Overall, this is definitely the best game of 2001, just an all-round amazing game, and definitely worthy of being in this video.
One shot for one shot putty, or his friend called him and right.
As a child, my parents were quite protective, and for that reason they didn't want me playing Grand Theft Auto, which was the hot game that everyone was playing at the time. You know, San Andreas was an absolute classic. I don't think I knew anyone else that wasn't playing San Andreas other than myself at the time. You know, I was sat there just playing Billy Hatcher and the fucking giant egg. I was having a good time, but I did want to play Grand Theft Auto. I really did. You know, and I'd go up to my mum and I'd say, hey, can I get a PS2 in San Andreas? And she'd say, no, you've got a GameCube. And I'd say, I've also got an original Xbox. And she'd say, yeah. And I'd say, San Andreas is on there. And she'd say, you're not getting that blasted game. So what did we do to compromise? Well, as a kid, and now even, The Simpsons is arguably my favourite TV show of all time. So why don't you take the Grand Theft Auto formula and give it a Simpsons art style? And whack it all together, mix it all up, and what do you get? You get The Simpsons Hit Run. A game that people are still asking for a remaster or a remake or a modern port of to this very day, which, you know, I'm all in favour of that. I would love to bring The Simpsons Hit Run forward instead of having to do dodgy stuff to get it all working on the PC and looking nice. No 4:3 aspect ratio for me, sir. I want proper. I want widescreen. I want to see Homer kick Milhouse in widescreen. But The Simpsons Hit Run, 2003 it came out. I remember I had it on the GameCube and I sunk so many hours into that game. Oh my lord, what a great game. The story essentially follows the Simpsons going around completing little tasks, very GTA-esque, driving cars, very GTA-esque, kicking people. You get a hit and run rating if you end up doing enough bad stuff. But if you don't do the bad stuff, the missions are very engaging. There's collectathons, there's races, there's speak to someone's, you know, there's a lot of variety going on there. And the entire game is just full with homages to the franchise and just constant nods to the past of The Simpsons as a franchise. The story itself follows The Simpsons investigating weird occurrences going down in Springfield, which turns out in the end, spoiler alert, to be aliens. It's aliens. But the game for me has an incredible amount of replayability. It's just so fun being able to go around 3 different parts of Springfield and just cruise around and see all the little homages they've left in there. Not only do they have huge signs up with previous jokes that have run in the franchise and run in the series, you've also got collectibles. You got these little Buzz Cola cards that you can pick up that have a certain scene or a certain gag that you can collect and be like, oh shit, I remember that. I remember I remember steamed hams. Good stuff. Good stuff. Aurora Borealis. Fucking great stuff. But the amount of cars that you could go about and use in the game. You obviously had Homer's sedan, you had Bart's honor roller, Marge had the Canyonero. You had so much variety. Lisa had the Malibu Stacy car, but not only that, there were also hidden vehicles in amongst the game. Level 1, you had a rocket car. You had a rocket car in level 1. Of course, it couldn't take any damage, but it was so fast. It was so fun to use. You whack a no damage cheat on there and the press horn to fly. Oh my god, you are a rocket man. You are a spaceman right there, my dude. but I sunk so many hours into that game. That was probably one of the most iconic games of my childhood, other than the big man up there. Other than that man up there, he's the dude. He is the guy. I still know the game inside and out to this day, and people love it. People love it. Finding out a sequel was in development as well broke my wee little heart. Finding out that they didn't end up going through with it. But alas, we are left with the legacy of an absolutely fantastic piece of video game that you can still play on a PC. May not be the best, but you can do stuff to it. Regardless, The Simpsons Hit Run, my final pick, very, very special place in my heart.
Well then everyone, that is going to be it for this video. I thank you all for watching, those of you who are coming from my old channel, and those of you who are new to me entirely, I appreciate you all. I would also like to give a huge shout out to Kay for collabing with me on this video. He is an insanely cool and genuine guy, and he deserves way more recognition than he has, so if you could go show him some support, I will link his YouTube and Twitch channels down below. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.